جابتني هم راحلين عجمان.
My family was traveling on camels when I born. I had the name Rahila, the traveler. My life has since born been full of struggles.
Before dawn, she wakes up, as if to remind the cock to crow, and it crows, or to ensure that the sun will rise, and it rises. Before dawn, she wakes up, as the cock is never bored of crowing every day, and as the sun is never bored of rising every day. She, women in both rural areas or in the steppe, are never bored of waking up before both the cock and the sun to go about the exhausting trials that cannot be avoided, the trials of every day, a constant toil for a bite of bread, not only for her family, but for all people. Her hands spread opulence, a gift bestowed upon her by God. The wedding day. It is mostly the happiest day in the life of rural women, as it is in the life of every man and woman. This has been human nature from the ancient past and is still the case now, and will remain so forever. Rural communities in Syria organize expensive ceremonies to celebrate that day in different ways, to express the pleasure of the family, neighbors, relatives, and all members of the community, a celebration of life and its renewal, manifested by the union of a man and a woman. However, the happiness of the bride is not complete until she hears the cry of her newborn baby requesting to be fed. His birth is a renewal of life through woman. The woman has to suckle and look after her baby, but the reproductive role of rural women continues for a long period of time. It may last throughout her life. Rural mothers are responsible for child and maternal health, following up on their children's vaccinations and medical tests together with health centers. They are also responsible for bringing up children, looking after them and supervising their education. All these responsibilities may be accompanied by a new pregnancy and a new maternity. Taking care of the husband and taking care of housework such as cleaning, washing up and preparing food are the daily duties of rural women. In most cases, she bakes the bread for the family, maybe also for the extended family, or even the bread to be sold. Although the furnaces work nowadays with oil or gas fuel, many rural women still have to collect and carry wood to be used as fuel for baking, cooking, boiling milk, and water for washing. Customs and traditions continue to require from rural women additional duties, which could be carried out even by men. Among them, some are of productive nature, not directly related to the reproductive role of women, but women are still the only provider of them. Examples are food processing of provisions for family consumption along the year. During summer, rural women produce burul, the traditional crushed wheat usually made by mothers and daughters. It is a multi-stage operation, an exhausting process that requires patience and persistence. Another duty is milk processing. It differs accordingly to seasons and to regions. Soke or shanklish are well known in the coast Midland regions. This dried yogurt is processed by rural women, usually for the family's consumption all year round. The production of cheese and butter and ghee is widely spread in the steppe area. It is main foodstuff for the whole extended family. It is also a source of income. Bedouin women are responsible for milking, milk collection and processing. The same is true for rural women. They take care of animals, they feed cows, milk them, treat the milk before processing it for sale. In many cases, women are even responsible for the transportation of milk to the nearby markets, where they sell it directly. As for sheep, husbands and sons participate in the grazing work, but women milk the cattle when it gets back. Women also breed chicken and domestic birds in the house yard or in the home garden. Eggs and meat are additional sources of food and income. Nowadays, many rural women are among beneficiaries of agricultural projects implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture and Agrarian Reform. Improved goat breeding and the introduction of the high genetic breed chamois goats offer additional economic benefits to the family, such as twin births and an increased production of both milk and meat. The Ministry of Agriculture is implementing those IFAD-supported projects in the southern coast and Midland regions, but also in the steppe, in Idlib and in Jabal al-Hus areas. The projects provide market windows to rural women food and fruit processing products. Other domestic products should still find effective markets. As if all these activities are not sufficient, rural women are expected to restore and maintain their houses, while Bedouin women are expected to put up tents alone or assisted by some men. Any economic returns for these activities go unaccounted for, but rural women do them willingly because they are income generation activities capable of reducing house expenditures. This formula is correct from an economic point of view, but a more accurate criterion must evaluate the work of rural women. This criteria should take into account the cost of the women participation and the cost of increasing the family income. This could support women in becoming important partners in decision-making. Decisions made only by men are not always correct. Another important aspect is that rural women perform activities related to cash crops. These produce only financial returns, but not any direct nutrition benefits that may justify participation of women in view of the production responsibilities of the woman's reproductive role. One example is a woman's exhausting task in cotton production. That includes singling plants, hoeing crops, picking and assembling the product. They work in uprooting sugar beet and in silkworm breeding that requires special care. Other activities are tobacco planting, harvesting, drying, and collecting the dried leaves. Basic infrastructures are widespread in rural areas of Syria, but in some cases women have to bring water from, usually, far wells. Rural women are expected to perform many other duties that occupy a large proportion of their daily life and increase their suffering and exhaustion. This is the case of activities such as barley and wheat harvesting, chickpea harvesting, lentil harvesting, olive harvesting, tomato harvesting, and many other crops like sumac which need further processing before consumption. Many pioneer women have added extra activities to their daily duties, not only to increase the family income, but also to practice hobbies and to gain satisfaction and serenity of mind. Also in this field, the development projects implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture assist rural women. They organize training courses, able to provide the necessary skills in different fields. Many rural women and Bedouin women have been able to learn how to sew, use a tricot machine, weave and decorate dresses, do embroidery using reeds, and spin wool, a task that Bedouin women have carried out throughout history. But the main problem that rural and Bedouin women suffer from is widespread illiteracy.
I am still repentant for not going to schools. It was a mistake, which will cause a remorse for all my life.
This awareness of the negative impact of illiteracy is reflected in the willingness of rural women to attend literacy courses, which are organized by the projects implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture in cooperation with some popular organizations.
I have followed many literacy courses. I always have succeeded to be the first. I have now many literacy certificates.
The success achieved by such courses has promoted the role of rural women, giving them a major position in the development process side by side with men. The census figures state that illiteracy rates among rural women are decreasing, reflecting a deep consciousness amongst them of their prominent position in the structure of the community. This is a manifestation that rural women have realized that their biological and reproductive role, genderized for centuries, a role that has been able to mummify them and place them in a vacuum, does not contradict with their new development role, but would rather enrich and complete it. The integration of these two roles has characterized the Arab Islamic civilization, but it gradually disappeared during the ages to return in this age within the context of the sustainable development adopted by modern Syria. Authentic development is linked to empowering both men and women in a way that both could participate effectively in the development process to ensure sustainability and long-term progress.